I was going to a Fish concert, and I parked in the parking lot. It was at Bridgeview, but totally not Bridgeview. Not a lot of people parked in the parking lot. I don't know how people got there, but they didn't use the parking lot. And there was another concert in a building next door, and Mike Copero was going there with John and some other people, and it was like some electronica thing, and Mike was really not happy to go there, but he was going. Um, and so, like, I'm setting up around my car, because now my car is, like, in a hotel room, or I'm in a hotel room, my car's not in there. Um, and I'm setting up there, and I've got my backpack, and I've got two blow-up dolls, and then this smaller, not blow-up doll, but a blow-up doll. And, well, before I'm setting up, I go over and I see Mike, and I'm like, hey, Copera, and he's like, hey, Rob, and I, like, drop down on my knees with this really serious face, and he's really confused, and then I, like, go down to my hands, all while maintaining this face, and then I, like, buck up on my knees, like, as if I was a four-legged animal going up on two legs, and I go, ah, and Mike started cracking up, and he's like, oh, good, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call you Rob. Um, so then we go, and then I'm in my hotel room, and, but my hotel room's like a big room shared with other people, and these girls come in, with like two girls and a dude, and they're looking through stuff, but other people's stuff, and they're talking about it, and they obviously know the other person. And they come over, and while they're coming over, I had been deflating two of my uh, blow-up dolls, or the two of my blow-up dolls. But the other one I don't get deflated, or I can't deflate. So I put the two in my suitcase, and I put the other one on top, or underneath the suitcase. And she comes over, and she picks up my suitcase like she's gonna go in, and I would pick it up, and I'm like, what are you doing? You can't look through my stuff. And she's like, oh, Rob said, or whoever the dude was, I don't know if it was Rob, that we could go through anything in here. And I was like, no, you can't. I don't know who that is. And she sees the doll, and she's like, what the hell? And I'm like, oh, it's the party girl, because she was wearing a party hat. Um, and so she pulls her out, and they're looking, and they're all laughing at it, and they're also like, this is gross, and then they are gonna take a picture with it, and somehow they make it look like a Christmas woman with like dark hair and a red velvet outfit on, and what the hell, I don't know. So they all leave, and I'm like, I'm gonna go to the concert now, and I'm picking out my jackets that I'm gonna wear because I realize it's kind of cold out. So I get my jackets on and go out the door and walk in. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna stop in my car and put my suitcase in my car so that these girls don't go back in the room and look through my stuff. So I toss it in my car, and I'm like my hatchback is bigger, and I'm fully in it. And there's like a $20 bill float up in there. So I'm picking that up, and I look up, and one of those women is walking up to my car, and she's looking, and she kind of tries to open the door, and I'm about to like slide out the back and lock it up and be like, oh no, I'm going to the concert. Why don't you go in with me? And she just somehow, I don't know if she jimmied the lock or if it was unlocked or what, but she gets in. And she's like, talking to someone else, and she's like, "No, this will do. It's got a full tank. And that's why I want it to be a full tank or something. I don't know." And I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "We're going back to your place." And I was like, "No, I want to go to the concert." And she's like, "Too bad." And I'm like, "No, get out of my car. Um, I want to go to the concert." And part of me knows that she's going to um she's going to steal my car no matter what. So I'm like, get out of my car, get out of my car, and I pull out my pocket knife and I put it up against her neck. And meanwhile, she had started my car with her knife, um, since I didn't give her the keys. And she's driving down the street now, and she's like, "You're not gonna do it." And I'm like, "No, get out of my car." And she's like, "You're not gonna do it." And she keeps on driving. So I cut her around the neck, and she like instantly passes out or something. And I kind of slide over the seat and push her out onto the street. And I don't know what happened to my car, if it just disappeared or what. But the traffic was pretty slow, and it like stops behind us. And I put my hand on her neck to stop it from bleeding, and I call 911. I'm like, I might have killed her. And and the cars just start going past me, and they don't care, which was awesome. So then I'm like next to this big giant billboard that has um movement on it, like moving images. Uh and there's ants that are fixing the fake billboard. Like there's like bolts that aren't really there. They're just the images. And ants are putting the bolts back down, and it's kind of weird. Meanwhile, I'm holding this girl's neck. Well, she starts doing like she's doing better. Oh wait, no, first like I had to push her neck down to keep the blood flowing like it was her heart. Um, whatever. Uh, so then like she's she starts going really slow heartbeat. I'm like, oh no, she's dying. And the ambulance still isn't there. It's been like forever. So I start pushing faster. I'm like, no, you gotta pull through. And she says, I'll only pull through if we go back to your place. And I'm like, I want to go to the concert. And I lift up my hand. I realize I barely cut her. There's a lot of blood, but she was okay. So what I do is I keep my hand on her neck and I take her to the concert. And I'm sitting there, I'm holding her neck down for a little while, and I don't even hear a song, and the set ends. So I go up and check with someone and make sure it's just the set break, and she's like, yeah, like sweet. So I go back, check on her, and she's okay. So I'm like, alright, and I go out of the concert, and I see an ambulance going by. So I run, they don't notice me, I go over, and at the spot, there's like a news camera set up with some reporter talking. There's cops everywhere and three ambulances, and there's an ABC person coming up behind me, and I'm like, oh, I can't like walk over now and explain what's going on. So I finally see a cop that's kind of standing there. I flag him over, and we go over, and I explain that she's pretty much okay. She might still need to be looked at by an ambulance guy, but she's okay. And that I was um I don't know. So he's like, okay, well, fill this out, and he gives me like this little like card, and it's to give me a police sword. I don't know what that was, but that's what it was. But it wasn't like a real sword. It was just this little thing. And dude comes over and cuffs me on one hand. Um, and I'm like, okay, I understand. They, and then they're like, all right. And they bring over this big paperwork, and I fill out, who I am, and I get down, and like there's options to check why you're there, and I was like, and there was like brutality, which was the one that I best fit into. And then the other dude's like, no, you gotta put down murder. And then it's like, I didn't kill her. I didn't even. And he's like, we were told that you did kill her. And the dude I was talking to first was like, oh yeah, some precincts think you did kill her. Um, so write a little note underneath about the fact that in some stations you killed her. Um, and then I'm like, can I go and finish watching the concert? Can you put the other cuff on me and we'll go in there and get her? And she'll be like, no, he's okay, and I'll just have to come in and take care of it later, or you know, um, whatever. And he's like, no, you gotta do this first, and they give me like all these envelopes with these little wooden incentive tokens, and some of the tokens had to get stickers put on them, little holographic stickers to make sure that they're real. Um, and some of them just need to be stuffed in an envelope that was already made up for the person. On top of the little wooden incentive tokens, they also got like little whoppers. Um, so, moral of the story is don't kill a girl, but not kill her because you'll miss all of the fish concert.